Do you ship Amy and Laurie? And do you think they balance each other out and genuinely love each other? I personally do think so, and I ship them. But I'd love to hear your opinion too. There's a lot of contention in the fandom around their relationship, and it always infuriates me. I'd love to know what you think. Thanks for the question. I do ship Amy and Laurie. I did an episode about the chapter Learning to Forget where Laurie proposes Amy, and it was a lot of fun. I remember when I was like 17, 18, and I used to read Good Wives nonstop. I would read that book every year. I was obsessed with it. I was always really impressed by Laurie's character arc because if he had not grown as a person, I would not have wanted him to end up with Amy or anyone. When he did decide to man up, then I could give myself a permission to ship them. I shipped them already in part 1 because there's that scene when Laurie goes to cheer up Amy when she's at Aunt March. I don't know if it was meant to be romantic, that chapter, but I'm a sucker for the couples in Little Women, and that's the way it is. The bottom line, I think, is that Laurie's relationship with Amy is completely different than with Joe. With Joe, he's annoyed when she tells him what to do. In the book, there are moments when Laurie is genuinely annoyed when Joe preaches him about neglecting his studies and so on. And Laurie gets easily agitated by Joe and Joe by him. And I don't think he was in love with Joe in the beginning with. Being with Joe is almost an excuse not to grow and worry about the future. With Amy, it is the total opposite. After rereading the chapter, it's amazing how he thinks of Amy's words. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? And then decides to change, and Laurie as a character becomes a lot more pleasant to be around. He literally turns from a boy into a man and becomes a working member of the society. With Joe, he would have stayed as lazy Laurie. And when I read Kristin Doyle's essay, Sing Me New Song, you can tell that's one of my favorites. I had a moment of clarity about their relationships. There's a quote about Louisa May Alcott highlighting the idea of how a person grows and gets into a higher level of self-understanding when they move on from an unsatisfying relationship to one that works. That's when I was like, oh, now I get it. That was Alcott's quest all along. These couples represent that idea. When Jo falls in love with Fredrik, he completes her because he helps her to become the best version of herself, and the same goes with Laurie when he's with Amy. And I think both couples suffer from unbelievable mischaracterization in the movies. Between 1933 and 2019 films, the filmmakers put a lot more effort into romanticizing Jo and Laurie and then minimizing the importance of Jo and Fredrik and Amy and Laurie relationships, presenting them as afterthoughts. And these quotes that Alcott wrote about the characters' transference, she wrote them down already when she was a teenager, so it definitely was not an afterthought. And I believe we can trace a lot of that to Louisa May Alcott's personal relationships with Henry and with Ladislas. I think it is such an amazing way to look at relationships, and anyone who has been in a bad, unbalanced relationship and then found a healthier one or wish that they could find one, could benefit from that. So yeah, Amy and Laurie and Fredrik and Jo's storylines are very important and an internal part of the story of Little Woman. And this was really the time when people did not expect to marry for love. They were expected to marry for financial reasons.
Hello, friends. It is Niina from the Little Woman podcast. Just to let you all know that the Little Woman podcast episode transcripts are now available as books. You can find them as paperbacks and ebooks. They are wonderful reading for all the fans of Louisa May Alcott.